Vacations can be super refreshing, or they can be absolutely exhausting, especially if you're traveling with young kids. But they don't have to be. Here's how you can plan your next vacation or trip and come back as refreshed as possible so that you can meet the world with your action-oriented nature. Welcome to Health, Harmony, and Happiness with Kathy. I'm your host, Kathy Stricker. I'm a state patrol wife, mama to 3 lively kiddos, a yoga teacher, certified NLP coach, and an energetic rhythms expert. As an energetic rhythms coach, I help action-taking women use their body's rhythms and the moon's cycle to optimize productivity and avoid burnout without letting their desire to remain in control alter their focus. And this podcast is all about doing just that and perhaps a bit more so that you can create your own path to health, harmony, and happiness. So come along with me, and may this episode serve as a nudge to discover tools that could help you on your path towards more intentional living. Enjoy the show. Hi, friends. Oh my goodness. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about vacation, right? So I went on vacation. It was a couple of weeks ago now, but whoa, it took me some time to recover. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk to you about today, because it wasn't really necessary that I had to take this long of time to recover, but I did. But there was one critical fact as to why it has taken me this long. I'm convinced, as I have been reflecting and I'm thinking about all this stuff. So vacation is no different than any other time in your life or any other event or any other project in your life, believe it or not. And I'm going to get to that in just a second and how it is. But first of all, I want to give you a little summary of what my vacation was like, vacation or trip. So my aunt recently informed me that her daughter, so my cousin, says that it's not a vacation if you go on it with kids. It's a trip. And I'm like, that's kind of true. So, I mean, it very much is true, because especially when you have little ones, it's like, you're really busy and really active. You know that, right? Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. So not really a vacation when you're going with your kids. It's called a trip instead. So I'm going to invite you to consider that as well. I'll still likely call it vacation, but it's almost sometimes like when we return from vacation that we actually need a vacation from our vacation. Who out there has experienced that? And it's funny because my husband actually did get a vacation after the vacation and I didn't. And then like a day and a half into his vacation, his work vacation, because he actually, the day we got home, the next day he flew out to Denver for a work thing. But the second day he was there, he said, we should have planned this a little better. So you could have flown out here with me and you could have had a vacation from vacation with me. We would have just had to buy your plane ticket. And I'm like, I didn't even know you were going to Denver until like 2 weeks before we actually left on our vacation. So sure, that would have been great if we could have planned that, but we needed some communication to happen first. So he did get that vacation. I did not. But the point is, I took extra long the weekend that we got back and literally did nothing, because on our vacation, we were on the go the whole time. Our downtime was in our car, driving for hours, friends. We went to South Dakota and then to Wyoming, and it was a super long trip, but it was super fun. And we went with my husband's family. So we went with, there was a whole boatload of us, right? And we stayed in Airbnbs and we stayed in hotels a couple nights, but mostly Airbnbs. So we all got to be together and do all these fun things, right? And it was truly the Americana vacation of a lifetime. Not really. I mean, like there are things that we still want to go back and do, but we saw everything, right? We did Mount Rushmore, we did Crazy Horse, we did Devil's Tower, we did Custer State Park, and then we went out to Wyoming and we did the Grand Tetons and Jackson Hole and Yellowstone, like everything. And it was a blast, but literally there was no downtime. And I'm so grateful for my sister-in-law because she put together the itinerary and she but like had done all the research and everything, and it was great. And that element was beautiful because I didn't really have to do much of anything in that regard, but decide like, are we going to do this or not? And the full communication was like, if any family doesn't want to do any part of this, you don't have to. Like, these are just the things we thought would be great to see. We don't all have to stay together. But of course, when we're out there and the cousins are enjoying each other and it's great, like we all want to do that. We all want to we just wanted to participate. We wanted to see everybody and do the fun things. So what I observed is that I was getting caught back in this trap of like the old me of constantly doing all the time and not honoring the 4 phases of my energetic rhythms, which, as you know, if you've been in this group, are so crucial, right? If you don't honor all 4 of those phases, you're going to be either living in a state of burnout or constantly going into burnout, or you're going to be feeling like you're stuck a lot. So these 4 phases are so crucial and so critical. And I realized that when we were on vacation, we were having all this fun and doing all these things, but we were not honoring these 4 rhythms. Like we were not taking the time to reflect and celebrate, or taking the time to rest and set intention. The rest was sort of when we were in the car, but then, you know, you've got like kids in the back who are needing to be all the, when are we going to get there? How much longer? Can I have a snack? Can I have this? Can we watch this? All of that. And you know that. So the weekend, we got home on a Friday. I took Saturday and Sunday, and I did a lot of unpacking Friday evening when we got home, just because I knew my husband was going to be leaving. And honestly, since we stayed in Airbnbs, we didn't have a whole lot of laundry. And so it was great. And I packed in a way that was really easy to get the kids unpacked and all of their stuff put back. So that was beautiful. But then after that, I took Saturday and Sunday to really do nothing around the house. And I kind of had these feelings of guilt starting to creep in, like I should be doing this, I should be doing this. But I caught myself because I knew that the only reason that those feelings were coming in was because I had been in constant work productivity mode that whole time. And my nervous system was having a hard time coming down from that and having a hard time adjusting to the fact that, oh yeah, it's normal to wrap up and to celebrate. The other observation that I didn't realize until last night was that I never really have completed the cycle of vacation because I didn't take the time to go back and like celebrate it by looking at the pictures that I took on my phone, by cleaning out the unnecessary pictures, and by sharing those pictures with family. So I took the time to do that last night. And as I was doing that, it also occurred to me that I've been planning on talking to you guys about this whole thing for a long time, but these other realizations just came to me that last week was not a very productive week for me. It was not a very fulfilling week. I don't want to say productive, but it was not a very fulfilling week. I felt foggy. I felt unfocused, and I felt like anxious, almost like I just had this feeling that something else needed to happen. And it occurred to me last night that it was that I didn't wrap up vacation. I didn't have the completion. And those 4 phases. So those 4 phases, the first one is rest and intention setting. The second one is to plan and to begin to take action. The third phase is to taking action. And this is crucial in that taking action phase, that you are being present in the action taking. And then the 4th phase is to wrap up, to celebrate, and to reflect. And if any one of those phases is missing, you're likely going to be feeling burnout, or you're likely going to be feeling stuck. And I hadn't taken the time to intentionally reflect and celebrate. And while on vacation, we didn't take the time to do that. And we didn't take the time to rest and set intentions. We like had the agenda or had the idea of what we were going to do, but we weren't entirely intentional about it. Now, in the beginning, the way I had the kids start doing like this little journaling at the end of each day, they would write down what their favorite part of the day was or draw a picture of it. But that quickly went out the door after the first few days because we were so active and getting home late and so tired that we just weren't taking the time to do that. So it was a lot of unintentionalness there. And as I told one of my clients last week, I said, I really kind of avoided myself on vacation. And he was amazed by that and thought, oh my gosh, you're human. And I'm like, I've been trying to tell you that for years, but it's okay that you're just realizing it, that I do avoid myself at times too. But that I digress. Uh, I am human. I do avoid myself sometimes, but honestly, it was because I was so tired because we were doing so much all the time. And one of my tendencies, this was the observation I had last night too, is that one of my tendencies is to not complete projects or to take forever in doing so. Like I kind of drug this out, but last week I felt so unclear and so foggy and so, I don't know, like just like I needed to complete something, but I wasn't completing it. And often we do this as a protection mechanism out of fear. And it just keeps you stuck. It creates unnecessary anxiety. It creates unnecessary irritability. And I caught myself doing this when I hadn't finished the trip by sharing pictures or uploading pictures to the family Google Drive that we created to share all the pictures, and posting pictures on Facebook or sharing them with family. So sometimes it's just easier to move right on to the next thing, right? We just decide, oh, I'm not going to finish that or complete that, and I just move right on. But you can't always just move right on because it creates those feelings of being unfocused, of fogginess, of irritability, of anxiousness. And then you wonder why you're anxious and irritability or irritable. It's maybe because those projects haven't been completed or something in your life hasn't gone through that full 4 phases of the energetic rhythms. Those are 4 phases of productivity that I call them either the 4 phases of productivity or the 4 phases of your energetic rhythms. I'm talking about this all in a podcast episode that's going to be released next week, friends. But doing this live today and looking at the pictures last night, these are part of me wrapping up and celebrating this particular event in my life. And when you don't do this, you hang in this space of incompletion. But there is a better way. There's such a better way. I'm not saying that my vacation or trip, whatever you want to call it, wasn't fun, because it was a blast. I had so much fun. I'm just saying that when I do a vacation like that again, or a trip like that again, I will intentionally make time and put in those phases of rest and intention and celebration and wrapping up. And I've spent so much time over the past 2 years really digging into putting all 4 of those phases into every element of my life that it didn't really occur to me when going on a big giant vacation like this that wasn't going to be an option, or it wasn't planned in. But I know now that when planning something like this, when planning a vacation like this, it's crucial. So your vacation is just like everything else in your life. Even if you are taking that vacation for pure relaxation, you still have times where you want to honor all 4 of those rhythms. And those rhythms can be looked at on the big scale, like from the vacation as a whole, like I'm kind of talking to you about today, but it can also be looked at in the mini elements of your vacation. So the day to day, or maybe the little side trips that you go and take on your vacation. Last week in the group, I asked if you preferred taking a vacation for pure relaxation and not doing much at all, or if you were the type that enjoyed taking a vacation where you're doing lots of things. And I got lots of mixed responses where people like doing a little bit of both. And I think that's lovely and beautiful. Just remember, this is your permission that even on those relaxing vacations, take the time to consider those 4 rhythms, those 4 phases of your energetic rhythms, and how you can ease them in and what that looks like. So you're even if you're just planning on sitting at the beach all day, unless you actually complete that phase and like reflect back. And it only has to take moments to reflect back on these 4 phases, or to reflect back on the day and the other phases. Unless you take that moment to really just pause and be intentional about thinking, okay, like we had a good day. We sat on the beach. We might've drank a little too much. We had fun. We did this. Yes, it was a great day. I'm blessing that. I'm letting it go. And now I'm going to go rest and recover and prepare for the next day. That's all it has to be, friends. But I'll tell you, that part in my vacation was not really even. Like we were so tired and so fatigued. So this is your permission to not let yourself get to that point. Because if you skip those phases, you will be too tired. You will be burnt out from your vacation and need extra time to recover, right? The purpose of a vacation is not to have to need that second vacation after your vacation. It's to come back feeling relaxed. It's to come back feeling refreshed, mind clear, and ready to go, right? That's the point of taking time away from the day in and day out. But the thing is, a vacation doesn't have to be, it is the same. It doesn't have to be any different than the day in and day out in regards to the fact that you still got to honor those 4 phases of your energetic rhythms. So let me see here. One of my favorite rules of thumb, this is what I'm going to leave you with today, is from the book called Effortless by Greg McKeown. And he has a couple of books out there that are actually really phenomenal and very much in line with what I teach. But one of the things that he says in the book is to only do in one day what you can completely recover from in one day or by the next day, right? And the same goes for a week. So only do in 1 week what you can recover from completely by the end of the week. Here's how I know I didn't do that, because it took me literally all of last week to actually feel like I was recovered from vacation. And it was an interesting situation because literally my husband was not home at all last week, and we were getting ready for my daughter's birthday party that we had yesterday. So I had that on my brain too. But it shouldn't have taken me that long to recover, even though I was solo parenting and preparing sort of mentally for a birthday gathering. I still didn't honor that. And in order to follow those rules of thumb about only doing as much as you can recover from in one day or in 1 week, you have to honor the 4 phases of the energetic rhythms. You absolutely have to. You have to listen to those 4 phases of my energetic rhythms framework. If you don't, you will not fully recover from the vacation or the trip. And you need that. Absolutely. Otherwise, you will be burnt out and you'll be stuck and not able to move forward. You'll feel foggy. You'll feel unfocused, anxious, unproductive, and like you're needing extra time to recover. And that is exactly what I observed happened to me last week. I just couldn't pinpoint what was going on with my energy, but I nailed it last night. So I'm glad to actually wrap this up and to recover completely. Don't do what I did. You have permission from this point forward to look at your vacations differently, to look at them exactly as you would look at your day or your week. And how can you honor, or your month, how can you honor the 4 phases of those energetic rhythms? And those 4 phases are the rest and intention setting. That's number 1. To plan and to begin to take action is number 2. Number 3 is taking action and being present while taking action. And number 4 is wrapping up, celebrating, and reflecting. I hope this was helpful for you today. Please, the next time you plan your vacation, think of these 4 rhythms or 4 phases of your energetic rhythms and use them, friends. I'm glad to be back, and I'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you hear, help us grow this podcast by sharing it with even just one other person. And it would mean so much to me if you would take a moment of your time to write a review. Your comments and feedback are what help me continue to bring you topics and guests that can help you and others on their journey in creating health, harmony, and happiness. Remember to head on over to KarenYogaWellness.com to get the show notes and links from today's episode. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Karen Yoga Wellness, and to continue connecting with more resources that could help you enhance health, harmony, and happiness in your own life, subscribe to this podcast. Thanks again for listening.